Hello! The first thing you may notice is that I'm wearing glasses and a ridiculous hat. These glasses I actually need to see, otherwise my right eye tends to drift off. Now, if you can notice the subtle difference between the lens sizes, yeah, take a look at that. The left lens, very tiny, the right lens is like a magnifying glass. Now, my right eye has been having problems since I was little. It always drifts off. In fact, my whole right side of my body is kind of messed up. My right ear is a little bit hard of hearing, and my right hand, even though being my dominant hand, seems to be weaker than my left hand. Anyway, to get on to the main point of the video, Twilight Princess. Now, this game came out about 2008, 2007. I got it the Christmas of 2007, and it was a really good game for me when I first played it. Like the first initial 20 minutes or so I played it, but after I started turning into a wolf and stuff, things just kind of got really un-Zelda-like to me. Now, people will always say, you can't just expect Zelda to be one way, every game's different. And I know that. Every Zelda game brings new elements to the table with each, like, with Wind Waker. It gave you sailing, a different instrument. It gave you the grappling hook instead of just the hook shot. With Ocarina of Time, it introduced the musical instrument you could play wherever you wanted, and the instrument could warp you places. Now, with Majora's Mask, that brought in the masks. The masks, in my opinion, were really interesting because you could transform into 4 different things. You could transform into Goron, Zora, Deku, or if you beat the game completely, you got to do the Fierce Deity, whatever. I'm not very good at pronouncing things. I have a Southwestern mix and a Northeastern mix accent because I grew up in Arizona, but I was raised pretty much here with my grandmother. The storyline goes, you're Link, the obviously a different incarnation. You're Hylian, although everybody around you is a human. They don't have pointy ears or anything. You're the only one that seems to have it. It's a little farming village, and you start off the game with helping this farmer put his goats or sheep back into a pen. And you can do this as a timed thing, or it's the beginning mission. It pretty much gets you used to the horseback style, which it's a little jerky, and the movements aren't very smooth because sometimes when you just want to go a little bit to the left, she'll jerk left out of nowhere. Or if you want to just go like a little forward, she'll start running. Or if you want to stop, the stopping was really hard for me because I was so used to playing games like Red Dead Redemption or Assassin's Creed with the horse. So things became hard with stopping, and things became hard with accelerating again. I was so used to just lightly tapping A or repeatedly tapping A to keep my horse going with Red Dead Redemption because that took hours. But with Twilight Princess, you just had to tap it once, just like Ocarina of Time. Instead of the carrot method, it has the spurs instead of carrots. Link's horseback riding in this game is a lot more interesting. You can fight on the horse instead of just arrows. You can shoot arrows. You can take out your lantern. I think you can take out your hookshot too. I'm not really sure. I haven't played this game in so long. Anyway, later on in the game, after the tedious tasks of doing little farm chores and stuff, or showing little kids how to use a slingshot, this one little girl is extremely fascinated with Link, and she is almost like borderline obsessed with him, doing these little coos and swoons every time he talks, or, well, not talks, but every time he does anything. This little kid named Mallow, who, in my opinion, is a smug little asshole, he sits around and he will, his text is really tiny, so it's probably implying that he's whispering, which just pisses me off even more because I can't even read that well, and then having to squint to see what the hell he's trying to say also made me hate him. He later becomes a shop owner, and you can buy things like shields and bombs from him, but his prices are kind of unfair, with seeing as you can get some of the shields for cheaper prices. But when you do get the Hyrule Castletown shop to him, which is the only place you can get the rupee armor, the magic armor that takes up your money just to wear it. This is really useful in the side quest on the, as I like to call, the 9 circles of hell that go down. It's more than 9, but I can't remember exactly how many levels. It's this map out in Gerudo Desert. I don't know if they still call it that in this game, but anyway, I call it that, out in Gerudo Desert, where you have to go down you have to descend down these levels, and it's like a gauntlet pretty much. You just got to fight people, and then you come out in the end with all these places around you have fairy fountains now, which was really helpful if I felt like beating the game again without, going as far as to play that thing again. Beating the game only took me a day, which was really disappointing for me because most Zelda games took me weeks, as I've said before. Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time actually took me 5 years each, but I played them interchangeably throughout. After I beat Ocarina of Time, I immediately went back to Majora's Mask. In fact, I started playing Majora's Mask before I even beat Ocarina of Time. So when I was about 5, I started playing Ocarina of Time. When I was about 8, I started playing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask interchangeably because I lived with my grandma at the time, and I had a Nintendo 64 at my fingertips anytime I wanted to play it. Oh, sorry. As far as the controls go, it's not that hard. In fact, it's really simple, and it's really just like Ocarina of Time when the remake came out for the GameCube. With this game, you turn into a wolf a lot. In fact, a good 20% of the game you're a wolf because you have to get these little light tears that come out of electric bugs, as I've said before. When you get turned into a wolf the first time, you get dragged to Hyrule Castle. Midna helps you out. I kept calling her Minda or Minada. I've always been terrible at pronunciations of names. She wasn't very helpful at the beginning. Like anything, she just made me dislike her as a non-playable character, mostly because her actions were just really unneeded, and her dialogue was just kind of useless. She'd tell you controls that you had already figured out by now. Like, press A when you run to dash. Or she'd say, hold down the left trigger to look at me. Or, yeah, when you go up the staircase of Hyrule Castle, which is like your first little warping kind of thing, you have to press Z, and she goes to a ledge, and you have to target her and jump at her. Which I always thought was funny, because it's like you're attacking her. And I just thought that was funny. I got a bad sense of humor. The first 5 minutes of the running up the stairs, there's a staircase that you have no choice but to fall down, which always made me angry when I wanted to just do a speed run of the game, because that'd always take up a good 10 minutes, not 10 minutes, it'd take up like a good 3 minutes of my time just to have to do that simple part. Afterwards, you meet Zelda, who Midna refers to her as Twilight Princess, which made me... See, this game was kind of like a detective game almost. You had to figure out who the hell was the Twilight Princess, and it took a while for me to figure it out, honestly. Obviously, I'm not going to throw a spoiler out in the beginning of the video, because this is only part 1 of part 3, because I only have 10 minutes at a time. After you meet Midna and Zelda, and she takes you back to this place where you get turned into a wolf again, well, you're a human for a few minutes. Or are you? No, you're not. You're a wolf, and then you get pulled into the Twilight Zone again after you go ahead and go to the town and talk to people. Then you come back and you need a sword, which you've got to steal from, I think his name's Talon. I don't know. I think it's Fado. I'm really not sure. But you take the sword from him, and you take the shield from his friend, who lives in like this little mill house. Mill house, not the Seinfeld, the actual mill house that has to churn to, you know what it is. And then you go to the Forest Temple, which is one of my favorites, mainly because the monkeys help you. These monkeys, they act as like swings. You get to use them as swings. That's all I can do for part 1. Part 2 will be coming in about an hour. YouTube takes a long time to upload. If you're wondering about this hat, I've had it since I was about 7 or 9. I honestly cannot remember where I got it. This little line right here keeps turning black, and I'm not really sure why. The rest of my body isn't doing it, just that one line. I think it's I'm using my Mac built-in webcam. I'm using my Blue Yeti, which is a very expensive microphone. I'm using that for voiceovers that I'm doing. I'm going to be doing this in the meantime when I have nothing else to do, or I have nobody to talk to for the day. Well, stay tuned for my next video, and thank you for viewing. Bye.